Mind reading present. Why is love so complicated? 14 examples of complicated love. Being in a romantic relationship with someone you love with all your heart is the most beautiful thing that can happen to you. Then why is love so complicated? To be honest, we're all looking for that true love. We meet, date, and are heartbroken, as many couples do, only to finally meet the person who will prove why our ex wronged us. You dream about your ideal partner. You imagine having a future with him, and then you fall in love with your best friend, a younger or older man, or even a married man. And the problem is that we can't control the desires of our hearts. We cannot manipulate our emotions in any way. Let's be honest, many of us make the mistake of falling in love with the wrong person. And there's nothing wrong with that. Only through failure can you know how strong you really are. But sometimes we can't tell the difference between infatuation and true love. That's why we often live with someone who wasn't meant for us, only to be hurt by him or her later in life. At some point, when you're with someone and you're in a complex relationship, that bad feeling arises when you need to change your status to is complicated. I mean, this doesn't mean you're not looking for true love. Everyone is. However, you think that you may not deserve it, so you end up building a wall around you so that no one can hurt you. However, one day, someone will come into your life who will knock down that wall. Someday, you will meet a man who will show you what it means to sincerely care for someone. Why is love so complicated? Throughout history, many people have written and sung about true love in an attempt to understand what love really is. We use this knowledge to find new love, which will later become true love. But still, we don't get to choose who we fall in love with. Then why is love so complicated? Well, we mistakenly think that falling in love means we have to be happy with that person. That's not true. And here's why. Love is not the same as happiness. You can be cheerful and feel fulfilled even if you don't have a partner by your side. Love is more than just the kind of love we imagine we will have with the perfect partner. We've all experienced bad relationships and bad relationships, even though we're trying to find a suitable partner. So, what can we know about ourselves? Do we know ourselves well enough to realize what we want and what we don't want? To meet a partner who can give us love, we must accept our feelings and know ourselves completely. We can't let our previous relationships affect our future. Remember that you are the sole creator of your love story, but you have to make sacrifices and compromises and do a lot of hard work if you want to succeed with your partner. You can't just sit back and let them do everything. True love is when both partners invest the same amount of effort and energy without knowing whether or not they will stay together. If you're wondering why love is so complicated, let me give you some examples of why you think that way. Number 1. If you're wondering why love is so complicated, let me give you some examples of why you think that way. Be honest with yourself and acknowledge how many times you've had one-night stands. I understand if you feel guilty for doing that, but you don't have to feel guilty about it. I mean, it's okay if you can't resist and want to sleep with him, but you're still an amazing person who deserves to feel true love. This is a classic example of complicated love. When you sleep with him and don't hear from him anymore, at first, you may think it's all your fault and you did something to drive him away. You fill your mind with negative thoughts, and you try your hardest not to think about them, but it's almost impossible. So, you shut yourself down emotionally and decide you won't let a man get close to you anymore. However, you were wrong to think this way. You may notice that he's not busy, and it seems like he's deliberately avoiding calling you, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go out and seek your happiness. Calm yourself down and work on the most important relationship you have right now, the relationship with yourself. Only then will you realize that you don't need a man to be at peace, and you will soon forget about him. The worst mistake you can make is to build an emotional barrier around yourself just because an immature man decided to scare you. Believe me, there are many other fish in the sea. You just need to be patient and wait for the right person to come to you. Number 2. There are other people involved in your relationship. The fact is that relationships are difficult. Even if you give your best to maintain a healthy relationship, There are times when several external factors determine whether or not you are successful with your partner. It doesn't matter if it's because of his ex-girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, or one of your parents, or even an acquaintance who wants to have fun among you. We usually think that a relationship consists of two people, but that's not always the case. The harmony you build with your partner is bound to be disrupted when there is a third person involved in your relationship. It could be that your partner hasn't moved on from their past relationship, and now they don't know how to bring it up to you. Whatever the case, there is no place for a third person in a romantic relationship between two people. Then why is love so complicated? Well, once someone else interferes in your relationship, things will get worse. Your partner may start to distrust you because of what his parents say about you. Or maybe someone fills his head with all sorts of ideas about how much you're not good enough for him. In this case, you should remind him and yourself why you decided to be together. Take a step back, identify the problem, and talk to him. Tell her that you have to fight her as a couple if you want to stay together. Number 3. Too large an age gap. Love can be tricky if there is a large age difference between couples. If you're dating an older or younger guy, you know what I mean. To be honest, the age gap will always be on your mind, and there is not much you can do about it. But you can't ignore it because sooner or later, problems will arise. The fact is that age is more than just a number. If someone is much older or younger than you can never think on an equal footing with them. Your opinions and interests may differ, which can certainly cause problems in the relationship. You two won't have much in common because different generations were raised based on different standards. For example, maybe you and your partner disagree on how to handle finances. So, if you've always dated people older or younger than you, and you've never met your soulmate, try to find someone your age. You will eventually realize why age matters and why couples who have to deal with the significant age gap tend to break up easily. Number 4. Your family does not get along. This is Romeo and Juliet again. Your family doesn't like each other, and that's why it's hard for you to enjoy love. This first happened to you probably while you were in high school, when you didn't even know what true love really meant. You might think that this will change with age, but it's actually a real problem that many couples have to deal with. As I said before, there may be some external factors that can shake up your relationship a bit and force you to question whether or not your partner is right for you. If your family is against your boyfriend, many times you can't have a happy relationship with him. They will tell you how bad it affects you and that you deserve better than him. However, at the end of the day, these are your lives, and they shouldn't have too much effect on them. After all, you're the one who experienced all that heartbreak. Not all of it. You know exactly what you deserve. Number 5. Your partner is not ready to fully commit to you. All girls have faced this problem at some point in their lives. You meet a smart, charming, handsome guy, and you hope he won't break your heart like your ex did. But the same scenario repeats itself. He will not commit to you. So you ask yourself, why is love so complicated? Is there something in you that you need to change to prevent it from happening again? However, keep in mind that many men are players, and they focus more on quantity than quality when it comes to love. Some people are really stupid, whose only goal is to make love to you and then leave you as if nothing ever happened. Yet most men face commitment issues because they fear losing their freedom. They think that if they start a romantic relationship, they will no longer be able to hang out with their friends and their girl will become attached or needy. The unknown scares them, and that's why they're afraid to commit to one person. That bad feeling made them not allow a woman to get close to them. If you find yourself in a situation like this again, your best option is to take a step back and think about whether or not this man is worth your energy and time. Remember that you can't force anyone to love you, so if you don't see a future with him, just let him go. Number 6. Your loved ones do not return your love. The most common reason why love gets complicated is when you fall in love with the guy who doesn't love you back. You are overwhelmed by all these beautiful emotions, but he doesn't feel the same as you. You can expect everything you want and create an imaginary world inside your head where you both live happily ever after lives. But none of your actions or words can make him love you the way you want. At most, he will give his sympathy to you, which is far worse than rejecting you directly. Ask yourself why you're always chasing something you can't have. Do you have trouble recognizing the signs a man isn't interested in you? Or do you fall in love easily? I understand that you're looking for a man who will say, "love you," and mean it. It has been scientifically proven that these 3 words can increase our dopamine levels. That's why we're so addicted to it. However, not every guy can say it or prove it to you with his actions, especially if he doesn't feel the same way. In this case, you must leave him immediately before he breaks your heart to pieces. Number 7. You are in love with a narcissist. Falling in love with a narcissist can cause you to have emotional wounds that prevent you from seeing things as they really are. A narcissist is one who cares entirely about his own needs. Their only goal is to find a victim who will always be there for them whenever they need an ego boost. Unfortunately, once they get it, they will leave you. They are great manipulators who will use any trick to lure you into their traps and will not stop until they get what they want. Once they see you in their grasp, they won't let you go that easily. Yes, they will keep their distance, but whenever they feel down, they will go and ask you for solutions. And the only thing you have in common with such a man is that both of you will love him very much. He will never love you as much as he loves himself. In addition, you will always be the guilty party for everything bad that happens in your relationship. He might even fake certain scenarios to make it seem like he's the victim and it's all your fault. You will never find peace with such a man, so this will be a real emotional roller coaster for you. He will use harsh words to keep you under his control and lower your confidence. And his inimitable manipulative tactics. It takes great mental power to stay away from such a man, but it is not impossible. You have to surround yourself with people who can help you get back on your feet, and you have to be able to withstand his cruel mind games. Number 8. You make friends with benefits. This is a very complicated type of relationship that many people have in college and think that it can develop into something more serious. However, often they are wrong and even hurt. Selfless sleep together is a very difficult thing to do. For a long time, your love life will be in complete chaos. And that's especially so if you're having trouble balancing your actual emotions with your basic physical needs. It's a curse on both sides. That may seem cool and mundane at first, but as time goes by, it becomes more and more complex. It's really hard just to be friends with someone close to you. So why is love so complicated, you may ask? Inevitably, feelings will get in the way and you won't be able to resist the urge to suggest to your FWB to take your relationship to the next level. I'm not saying that it's impossible for both people to feel the same way, but it usually doesn't end up that way. Knowing that someone is only using you to meet their needs can leave you hurt, and you may even lose faith in love. That's why I don't recommend anyone try a relationship like this unless they're absolutely sure they can end it at any time. Number 9. You have not defined your relationship. One of the consequences of not knowing your position with your loved ones is that you will inevitably question your every action. You'll tell yourself that you have to get better at attracting her attention, when in fact, she's not good enough for you. Maybe you two sleep together, but don't call each other boyfriend. In this case, it will be more difficult for you to break up with him and move on. The reality is that you will be caught between the two, and this relationship will have a real impact on your sanity. If you can't define your relationship in a certain way, you can't have a future together. Number 10. You have a secret relationship. It's possible that the two of you are working together, or maybe one of you is involved with someone else. Whatever it is, you should keep your relationship a secret so that no one knows about you. It sounds exciting to be in a secret relationship at first, but there are bound to be consequences. The downside is that you will never develop a deep and meaningful relationship with the person. Besides, you won't be able to date normally because no one can see the two of you together. And lastly, this kind of relationship will make you feel bad about yourself. You may keep it a secret because you know that once the truth is revealed, someone will get hurt. That guilt will keep you awake at night, and you won't be able to overcome it in the end. Let me tell you one thing. You deserve to be with someone who would be proud to call you his girlfriend. You should be able to share with everyone in the world that you are in a relationship. Number 11. You are together because of your children. When you're with someone for any reason, except love. It can't be called love. Maybe you have a husband you don't love anymore, but you stay together for the sake of the kids. Even if the two of you stay together for other reasons, the reality is that people should only be together if they love each other. After all, being single is much better than being in a relationship without love. You won't be happy knowing that you'll be lying in bed with the guy who doesn't care at all, even if you have kids together. It may be convenient for you to stay in a dead-end relationship, but that won't solve anything. You will always argue and fight with each other, and you will feel miserable towards yourself. Number 12. You've officially broken up, but still hook up once in a while. There must have been times when I had trouble moving on from my ex. Unfortunately, I kept coming back to her even though we were no longer in a relationship together. I know we have no future together, but it's hard for me to get out of my comfort zone and start something new. I'm afraid of being hurt again, but the problem is that it only prolongs the suffering. Finally, I realized that I would never find peace if I didn't let go. You have to find a way to get over your ex. You won't be able to meet the love of your life if you continue to rely on the past. Number 13. You have not been in a relationship? Love can be complicated even before you get into a relationship with the person. If you secretly wish you could be with him and are afraid that he will reject you, the matter is not simple. But if you really think about it, there is no simple thing about falling in love. You need to muster enough courage to confess your feelings to someone you barely know. You don't know if he feels the same way as you or not, which can make your head dizzy. As a result, you can't function as usual. The only thing on your mind is one person who suddenly becomes your whole world. Number 14. He's a bad boy. This is another reason why romantic love is so complicated. There is something about those bad boys that makes them so attractive. Maybe it's because of the leather jacket or the funny behavior. But every woman must have experienced it. They are not meant to be tamed. They roam freely and enjoy the ride while they can. Their freedom attracts you to join them, but in the end, you grow out of that freedom because you realize that such a man will never be a suitable husband. So, you calm down and change your standards. You start looking for a man who can give you a normal and peaceful life. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so we can keep making them. For more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and remember to click on the notification bell. Also, be sure to check out our other videos as well. Thanks for watching.